Yo, guys, Hangover Gang. Urb'n Barz brings you the best UK reactions to rap, hip hop, and urban music from all around the world. And guys, it's Tom's Day. So, Tom's Day brings us to the end of the week and the beginning of the weekend. So, guys, we are as happy as Larry and Curly and Mo and whoever else you want to be. We're still buzzing, guys, from last week when Tom dropped Name. And guys, was it Names with an S on the end? Not Names, sorry guys. But he did it with his family members, and that was incredible. So with the help of Nova Rockefeller, of course, and his sister, and also his brother-in-law. Hopefully I got that right. It's incredible what you can do when you put your mind to stuff. And guys, that was an amazing track, Names. And Tom is way out above, ahead of the rest at this minute. He's saying the things and he's asking the questions that we all should be asking. And also we should be looking to get answers to those questions that we're asking as well, guys. But seriously, I was trying to do another Tom reaction before Names dropped, but I just didn't have the chance. I was just too busy with work, and I've just been so busy lately, guys. Really. But it's been good, but it's been really hard at the same time. But guys, I'm really excited because Tom's Day is at hand, guys. And you know that. We just want to enjoy a weekend and go into a weekend with the happiest smile on our face and, you know, just a good feeling. And I've got a good feeling about this track, guys. This track is called American Dreamz. And that title just means so much to me, American Dreamz, because it reminds me of the great and the late and the great Dusty Rhodes. And if you're into your wrestling, guys, and especially if you're into your NWA wrestling, even before WWE, Dusty Rhodes was my favorite wrestler, possibly of all time. And he was there for the common man and woman in America, and he was there to say that yes, there is a dream and you can make that dream by hard work and endeavor. I'm not sure if that can happen nowadays. I don't know. But guys, the American Dreamz. I've got a great feeling about this track, and I have to tell you something, guys. I'll always tell you the truth. I was checking out the volume levels because I've got this in Microsoft Edge or whatever it's called. Really, it's a pain in the derriere, let's say the derriere. Every time it keeps updating, it just messes with all the levels. So literally, I was just trying to shake the levels of these tracks. And I was doing it trying not to look at the actual track itself. I caught a second of it and I saw Tom was in levers. That's the only thing I've seen about this track, guys. But let's hope it doesn't spoil our viewing pleasure. I know this is going to be a high track, guys. I just know it. It's American Dreamz. It's our man Tom MacDonald, Hangover Gang. It's time to rock and roll.
We're making murderers famous.
Oh my gosh. I did see Tom in his levers, but I didn't know that he was in a graveyard. Or do you call it a cemetery? I don't know. Let me know in the comment section. Is it a cemetery, a graveyard, or I don't know. Is it a churchyard? So maybe this isn't going to be a happy song after all. Let's check it out. So it's our man Tom MacDonald and it's American Dreamz. Maybe he's saying the American dreams have been buried under the American nightmare. I don't know.
We're making murderers famous. They kill a bunch of kids and get on all the front pages.
So we're making murderers famous and they're killing a bunch of kids. We put them on the front page of the newspapers and we're making them famous. So I don't know, is he talking about things like the Columbine massacre and stuff like that? I don't know.
We're making murderers famous. They kill a bunch of kids and get on all the front pages. I don't know none of the victims. I know the guns in the system from...
So there's a little bit different here in what Tom's doing. So on the left hand side, we've got what we used to do on the 1/4-inch tape, on the tape. We used to slow it down, you know, so you play it at a lesser speed, so it'll slow it down. You get the kind of voice you heard Tom on the left. And on the right, what Tom has got is delay. So literally, if Tom's saying yes, what you'd hear is you hear the yes, but then you'd hear a yes slightly behind. So it'd be like yes, 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 no, 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 no. That's what I'm hearing here. So Yeah, and then Tom in the middle of the track, you're hearing Tom dropping his rhymes in his normal, usual cadence. So you're getting a slowdown, and we're getting some slight delay here as well on Tom. Well, guys, I'm gonna reel that again, and you'll hear it yourself.
We're making murderers famous. They kill a bunch of kids and get on all the front pages. I don't know none of the victims. I know the guns in the system promote the ones who are dangerous. It's become entertainment.
Is that Manson? Is that Manson? Charles Manson is that on his chest? I don't know. Guys, let me know who this is. Is this Charles Manson? Was he of that funny cult in the 60s? Was it Sharon Tate? Someone Tate. And I think she was pregnant at the time, and him and his followers, like half of them were ladies. They killed a few people in the mansion. Was it the Tate mansion? And he was Manson, Charles, something like that. I don't know. If I'm wrong, guys, I apologise. Let me just drop it in one last time.
We're making murderers famous. They kill a bunch of kids and get on all the front pages. I don't know none of the victims. I know the guns in the system promote the ones who are dangerous. It's become entertainment. We got t-shirts and posters covered in murderers' faces. We got movies getting made portraying killers as saviors and parents leaving kids alone at home with guns in the basement.
And that is really weird, because keeping it like with the wrestling narrative, we used to have like the hero and then the anti-hero. So someone like, say for instance, Stone Cold Steve Austin came in as the anti-hero, all clad in black. Remember when we grew up as kids watching the cowboy films, you know, the guys in the white hats were the good guys and the guys in the black hats were the bad guys. But what happened is it all blurred as we talk about the late 90s, the early 2000s kind of thing. Things blurred, and they blurred it into, so was it really the good guy as a good guy? Was it really the bad guy as a good guy? Don't know. And that was like Stone Cold Steve Austin. Or I knew him in WCW as Stunning Steve Austin. You know, him and the Hollywood Blondes with Brian Pillman, R.I.P. You know, so if you know your wrestling, you'll see how that all happened. They turned the hero into the anti-hero. So literally you cheer for the villain rather than you cheer for the hero. You know, but this is what our man Tom MacDonald is now saying here, because, but then again, it's not a new thing. I was watching this film a long time ago, and then I was watching a breakdown of a couple of not films, documentaries, that's the word, about Bonnie and Clyde. So are we talking about the 20s? Or was it even before the 1920s? I cannot remember. Was it the 1930s? I cannot remember off my head. But Bonnie and Clyde, they had a bit of a killing spree that went for a few days, a few weeks across the United States. I'm sure it's the southern belt. And in some aspects, you know, their antics were portrayed throughout the newspapers. They killed a few people. They robbed banks, and they killed a few people along the way. You know, so it wasn't anything to be laughed at or sniffed at. But the more they reported the stories, the more people came out on behalf of Bonnie and Clyde. And in the end, Bonnie and Clyde got shot dead by the law enforcement officers. And I remember hearing that when they had their funerals, which were separate, like Clyde had, I don't know, 10,000 people turn up to his funeral, but Bonnie had like 50,000 people or whatever, you know, silly numbers anyway, turned up to her funeral. But in some aspects, they became like the Robin Hood kind of characters, and people were cheering for them, and you know, but that's by the by. So this is what I think Tom's saying now. It's like sometimes the perpetrators, the villains, are actually being held up as, I don't know. Guys, I digress.
We got t-shirts and posters covered in murderers' faces. We got movies getting made portraying killers as saviors and parents leaving kids alone at home with guns in the basement.
Oh.
Would you pull me from a burning car? Run to get your phone so you can film me yelling World Star.
Oh my goodness. So now what Tom is saying as well is that instead of the natural instincts of people from years gone by before this social media nonsense, if someone was in a burning car, your natural first instinct would be to try to save that person. But now, is your natural first instinct to, oh, hold on, where's my phone? So that you can record it and then splash it across social media? Wow. It just shows what's going on with the human psyche. Is he right? Let me know in the comment section. It's a scary thought to think, though, that your life could be in someone else's hands, and they could almost at a flip of a coin say, "Well, do I record it or do I try and save this person?" That's a very scary. It's a very good observation, but a very scary thing if it's true.
Would you pull me from a burning car, run to get your phone so you can feel me yelling world star? A gun don't make a soldier with a purple heart. A gun cannot protect us if we don't know where our morals are.
A gun cannot protect us if you don't know where our morals are, and it doesn't necessarily make a soldier a purple star. I think a purple star in America is the equivalent of a Victoria Cross we have here in the UK. I think that's the highest military honour you can bestow on someone.
Gun don't make a soldier with a purple heart. A gun cannot.
Gun doesn't make a soldier of a purple heart. That's so true.
Protect us if we don't know where our morals are.
And it doesn't protect us if we don't know where our morals are. So literally what Tom MacDonald does in so many of these situations is he plays devil's advocate. So he sits on the fence, not always, and he tells you from one aspect, and then he'll turn around and pivot, then he'll tell you from the other aspect. So from this aspect, we're saying that guns are not great because they don't make someone, but a gun is a tool. Literally, it's a tool. And I can't remember the crew who said guns don't kill people, rappers do. I can't remember who did that, but basically what they're trying to say is a gun is the means to an end, but in order for the end to be parlayed and to play out, it needs someone to actually perpetrate, to actually conduct that deed. So literally a gun is potentially not the problem. It is a symptom of a problem. I hope I've explained that correctly. So I think this is what Tom's saying. Let's check him out.
With a purple heart, a gun cannot protect us if we don't know where our morals are. Students fill the classes and the graves, and you claim it's a conspiracy to take your guns away. All the while the family's torn apart and trying to ask why the son deserved to die at his desk in his class.
Oh, so now there is a massive debate across America. And I hope I've got this right. Is it the NRA? The National Association of Rifles? Or the National something of America? I don't know. Is it the NRA? Let me know in the comment section. But literally, we have a massive them against us kind of thing. It's always the way they push it. It's always the way they push things. And it's always a narrative. Just so remember that, people. There's a narrative that's been pushed down our throats in every single one of these situations. It's almost like, are you with us or are you against us? It's always a black and white. It's always like the red pill, the blue pill. It's always like, make your choice. You've got to go left or go right. They never want you to have the third option of the line that's in between, the grey area. So what people are saying is that guns should be banned, period. But then you've got the NRA who are saying, actually, hang on a second, guns are not the issue here. It's other social aspects that are triggering these people. So I think what they're trying to say is if they never had a gun, they'd use a knife. They never had a knife, they'd use their bare hands or another weapon like a wrench or whatever. So I can understand both sides of the argument. But there was the argument, I remember that they raised it about, I think Batman film had just come out, and in a theatre in the States, some guy dressed in a Batman Joker outfit opened fire and killed a few people in a theatre, cinema theatre, whatever. And a lot of people said if there was someone who was carrying a gun, like legally concealed weapon, they'd have probably been able to maybe have stopped that. But then people are saying, well, hang on a second, people shouldn't be carrying guns, this, that, and the third. So it's a massive, massive debate, guys. And to be honest with you, depending on which angle you come from, you could get 2 or 3 different decisions, from your outcome. But I'm not going to tell you what my opinion is, but there's a massive viewpoint here that's saying that gun crime is a huge issue in America, and we should get rid of all guns, etc., or at least the automatic weapons, etc., But people are saying, well, hang on a second, if we have people who had arms on them, we could have stopped things like the school massacres. I'm not going to say anything more about that because I know I'll get banned on YT. But, well, my socks were absolutely blown, really. And I'm not even joking when I say this. When I saw clips, I've only seen clips because I don't really watch the news, people. I stopped watching the news years ago. But people are telling me, I've got a good friend in America I speak to on a regular, and they were telling me, and then it came out on the news straight after, but they were telling me that, people on the scene, law enforcement people, for a very long time, and they weren't doing anything. So lives were lost when they could have been saved, but that's all I'm going to say, guys. But yeah, it's a big issue, and it's an issue that I'm not going to sit on either side of the fence, guys, because it's a huge issue. I don't live in the US, so I don't know what your personal issues are. But gun crime is being hoisted up as one of the narratives that they're going to play out for the next few years. And there will be a winner and a loser, but that's as far as I'm going to go, guys.
And you claim it's a conspiracy to take your guns away, all the while the family's torn apart and trying to ask why their son deserved to die at his desk in his class. We don't want a politician making money off the bullet holes. They're digging our grave, the home of the brave has gone up in flames. Give a f*** about the system, we're not doing what we're told. The land of the free is armed to the teeth, American Dreamz. We're distracted by free porn and compilation videos of puppies and kittens.
Sorry, it just jumped there. So it was interesting there seeing the spent cartridges from the weapons as they've been discharged. And I just remember reading books from people like my man Chester Himes, and he's always talking about back in the days, because we're looking at the 1920s here, in which those books were written, the period of the 20s and 30s, and he's always talking about the smell of cordite. So when you discharge gunfire, when you discharge a weapon, it's the smell of cordite, or it was in those days, and he said it's a very distinctive smell.
We're distracted by free porn and compilation videos of puppies and kittens, while our children use the internet to bully one another and then purchase ammunition.
So Tom's not just talking about gun crime, he's talking about there's also the area of censorship here as well. So what do you censor, what don't you censor, what do you allow your children to see? And also, because of the internet now, it's almost like letting people in the back door. We don't have the controls we used to have as parents to control and to literally monitor and censor what our children see and what they have access to. So the internet is a great thing, and it's also a terrible thing, because it's a great thing. It can help you with your homework. You can see really lovely things said about fluffy kittens, but it also could expose you to violence, to pornography, and to all these other things that literally, as parents, you want to keep your children away from that for as long as possible. And then he said a really interesting thing, because I remember I was on the bus once a few years back, and I was hearing kids on the bus talking about exactly that, sort of, and it was literally linking the pornography with the bullying, because one guy was talking, and I'm not sure if I can say this, but literally he just said that he literally coerced his girlfriend into sharing some pictures that probably should never been shared, because so it was almost like the bullying, kind of the cyberbullying there as well. And literally he then shared those pictures amongst his friends, which I just thought was terrible. But there you go, guys. There's so many good things that have bad connotations, and sometimes there are things that could be viewed as quite bad, which you can take good things out of. But it's just the way of the world, isn't it, guys? But it's a hard one. How do you keep your children safe, but also keep your children up to speed? It's a difficult one. So Tom is hitting these topics. Rat-a-tat-tat. Really?
Some videos of puppies and kittens, while our children use the internet to bully one another and then purchase ammunition. So addicted to your phone that you ignore the kids and never give them any supervision, so they learn to build Obama things you keep inside your kitchen. And
and that's so true, because you can learn to do anything on the internet. And the thing about these phones is, thank goodness I'm not addicted to any of these things, but I know how addictive it can be for people. So they literally live for their phones and what their phone, people, social media, whatever it is. And that phone is like dopamine. It's such a drug to them, and make them feel so high that they cannot literally neglect their children. into some aspects. It's a terrifying thing to think about, isn't it?
Nor the kids and never give them any supervision, so they learn to build a bomb of things you keep inside your kitchen, and you wonder how they ended up with life inside a prison. We mourn a dead gorilla, but don't care when it's a person. We're forgetting that we're human.
Oh my gosh, I keep going on about this, people. The one thing, sorry, kicking the microphone there. The one thing that you can say, all these people, they try and box us into this, that, and the third categories. There is only one category that we are all under. We are all under, and that is we are human beings. And what Tom is saying there is right. I was actually thinking this the other day. I love watching animal documentaries, animal programs. I was watching one the other day about Wolverines. It was incredible. I didn't realise Wolverine only lives 10 years. And literally, a female Wolverine will only literally have 3 sets of offspring, if that makes... I don't know if that makes sense, but they will mate. But on average, they'll give birth only 3 times in that period. Or was it they said they're only going to potentially have 3 periods where they can give birth? So literally they have to choose their partners and the time, to gestate their young very, very carefully. But what I was trying to get back to, talking about this, is that some people literally view the lives of animals as more important than human beings. And I'm not going to take sides in that. I personally think equal, but I think, if human beings are human beings, so we need to really put human beings first, but then we need to treat animals with absolute respect as well. That's my opinion. I love animals, totally love them. They've never done anything to us, they don't mean us harm or anything. It's not their fault that we are expanding into their territories as we keep, as the conurbation just keeps growing and growing and expanding out into areas that has never really been for human habitation. Not really. It was the habitation and the ecosystem of the animals. But what he's saying there is that, sometimes people don't treat human beings with the respect that they should be treated with. And once that happens, then they don't treat a human being as a human being. It's a very emotive subject here. So I'm sure this would trigger a lot of people with what this Tom is saying.
And then you wonder how they ended up with life inside a prison. We mourn a dead gorilla, but don't care when it's a person. We're forgetting that we're human. We're angry to chickens of being locked up in cages, and then forget we do the same to kids in our institutions. When they ask you about stupid, you tell them they should Google it, then wonder why the troubled youth are homicidal lunatics. You think it's tragic when a shooter kill a student, but then say it's all a plan for them to change the Constitution.
Oh, so what Tom just said there, so he was talking about things like Columbine and was it in Texas recently, etc., etc. But some people do think that, I don't really want to go into this too tough really, guys, but some people think sometimes situations aren't always as they seem. So literally, when they get one of these little presents that fall into their lap, it just seems very handy that these things happen at opportune times for them, and then they'll kick forward with their narrative and for their agenda. But that's as far as I'm going to go into that, guys. I could go into it a lot further, a lot deeper, but I don't want to. But what Tom said, I've heard many a time before.
You tell them they should Google it, then wonder why the troubled youth are homicidal lunatics. You think it's tragic when a shooter kill a student, but then say it's all a plan for them to change the Constitution. We don't want a politician making money off the bullet.
And these are the lobbyists who exist in DC. Literally, they're lobbying. They spend all their time lobbying, but it's on other people's dime. They get paid to lobby for whether it's pro-gun laws or anti-gun laws. And that's what Tom's saying. We don't want a politician, So you see the money there. So it's almost like Judas Iscariot, for your 50 pieces of silver.
They're digging our grave, the home of the brave has gone up in flames. Give a about the system. We're not doing what we're told. The land of the free is armed to the teeth. American dreams. Yesterday will be the same as tomorrow. If we don't wake up today. We don't want a politician making money off the bullet holes. They're digging our grave, the home of the brave has gone up in flames. Give a about the system. We're not doing what we're told. The land of the free is armed to the teeth. American Dreamz.
Got that purge sound. What's going on? Always reminds me of Purge. Oh, what's that? Whenever I hear that purge sound, it's not good. Nothing good ever comes from that sound. So guys, that was Tom MacDonald, and that was some seriously great camera work there from Nova. Great location as well. You know, we're burying our young in the graveyards, and the graveyards are overspilling with burying our young. So this is American Dreamz, guys, and it's a very important conversation to have as well. You know, so there's pros and cons on both sides. People argue passionately day in, day out for why we shouldn't have guns, and people will argue passionately for why we should have guns. It's a debate that will rage on and on and on and on. And what Tom is saying is people are making money from it. It's the lobbyists as well. You know, you saw the money raining down at the end. You know, people are literally having fat wedges, big wallets, because they're lobbying on behalf of or against, you know, but they're making money from it. They don't really care. And it's just a narrative as well. But also, you know, there are interested groups who could be, let me stress, using these things to push forward their narrative. But these things seem to fall opportunely into their hand. That's what Tom's saying. So, you know, is it coincidence or is it conspiracy? I don't know. Let me know in the comment section. But guys, I literally thought we were going to have something about the American dream and how we get along and how we get on as, you know, and make our fortune in the United States. You know, like even a lowly person, a manually skilled worker could potentially make their dream come true in the American Dreamz. But what this was really about, guys, was this was not an American dream. It was an American nightmare. You know, why are we losing our youth? And why has the youth, the gap between, you know, the young and the old probably been as big as it's ever been? It's a gulf, a chasm, really. And it's also, our parents are losing that grip that we have with our children. And if that grip that we have with our children is lost, will we grow up to have a lost generation of children who don't have that parental bond and who get everything from the internet, and you know, there's no social interaction. Is that what we really want? It's not what I want, people. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed that. There's so much that was in that. That was American Dreamz, Hangovergang. This is Tom's day. This is, you know, pushing forward to the weekend. But sometimes, guys, we need to reflect on what goes before until we see what comes after. And I really enjoyed that. That was Tom MacDonald, American Dreamz. It's something to reflect on, something to think about. And it's also a good thing, guys, to hug your children, hug your family members as well. Love them to pieces, guys. That's all we have in this world is our family and our loved ones. So make certain that you keep them close. But guys, we're heading to the weekend, so you know what I say, guys. Look after yourselves. Look after each other. But also make sure you go out and enjoy the fresh air. It's really hot at the moment, no matter where you are in this world. It is absolutely baking hot. But if you can go out safely, enjoy yourselves. But be safe, be kind to each other, guys. Look after each other, have fun, guys. Make certain, though, that after you've had fun, you looked after each other, after you've got yourselves home safely, that you come in, you flick on your whatever device it is, and you check out another Urb'n Barz reaction. And guys, if you haven't already subscribed to my channel here at Urb'n Barz, guys, subscribe to my channel here at Urb'n Barz. I want to make certain that we have the best time we can together. And the best time we can have is if you subscribe. Because once you subscribe, guys, it means that you can hit that notification bell and it will let you know when I'm dropping an Urb'n Barz reaction. And I try to do them 24/7. So guys, have a great weekend, Hangovergang. Look after yourselves, look after each other. And also, if you haven't seen Names from Tom MacDonald, download it now, guys. Because he wants to get well past, I think he's well past the 2 million mark already. But yeah, get it to #1. Guys, have a great weekend. Look after yourselves, look after each other. And yeah, I'm out.